Good morning, fam. So, the more that I hear people say that addiction is not a disease, the more it aggravates me, given the fact that a lot of people will say that it's a choice. You had a choice to do it. So I'm going to do a story time, and I'm going to tell you about the first time that I did meth. I was 29 years old. I was a professional photographer, and I stayed booked up all the time. I lived in a small town, and about 15 miles down the road, there was another small town. And I had a friend that I'd been friends with for a few years. I used to do hair as well, and I met her because I used to cut and color her hair quite often. I would go over to her house and hang out with her and stuff. She had a couple of sons. Can't remember their exact ages at the time, but I want to say her youngest one was probably about 6, and her oldest one was probably about 12. One day while at her house, I had about 4 sessions scheduled for that afternoon, and I was about to leave her house. And she asked me if I could run her up to a friend's so that she could get something that belonged to her son. Of course, I was in a hurry, and I told her that I really didn't think I had time, but she persuaded me to take her anyway, assuring me that it would be quick. I pull up to the location that she told me that this person resided, and it was a busted down looking motel that people still lived in. A lot of people that were there lived there and paid monthly. I pulled to the outer edge of the parking lot because it looked a little sketchy to me, and she asked me to pull in closer to where all the doors were at. She then got out of the vehicle. I locked the door. As soon as she got out, she knocked on the door, and the door she knocked on was the wrong person. So then she went down 2 doors and knocked on the door, and then she went into this room. Now, she had been in there for about 5 minutes or so, and I was getting really antsy and impatient, and I went to call her off my phone, and she come to the door and waved me in. So I rolled my window down halfway, and I told her, I said, I don't have time for this, I've got to go, and she just kept waving me in. She's like, come here. Against my better judgment, I rolled my window up, got out of the car, and I locked the doors behind me. And I walk up to this room. The door's already partially open, so I walk in, and the door slams behind me. And there stands a guy that looks like he hasn't showered in forever. Looks like he's tripped out of his mind. He shuts the door behind me and locks it. I'm not going to say follow and like for part 2, but if you want to see part 2, just go onto my videos for part 2.